Hey guys, what's up? It's Dr. Cody Dukes and we are back again for another video. Now before we get started, as always, I want to ask you to go ahead and please like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, as it'll help me and get seen more in the algorithm. Now with that said, how many of you guys have ever seen the movie Lion King? Now I'm sure that's most of you. Well, in the movie Lion King, there's this scene, it's pretty early in the movie. It's accompanied with a song where Simba is walking around and he's swinging his head back and forth and he's singing a song entitled, "I Just Can't Wait to Be King," right? He's singing about how he can't wait for his turn to rule, his turn to be great, right? For everybody to respect him the way they look at his dad. And what happens inevitably is that after Simba sings this song, he makes an executive decision that he's going to do some king things. Since he can't wait to be king, he's going to go out and act like a king. And so he convinces his friend to follow him down to the elephant graveyard. And what subsequently happens is in the elephant graveyard, they run into some hyenas. Hyenas are surrounding them. And long story short is Simba wasn't about that action. Simba was not ready. He didn't want the smoke. He didn't want to be king anymore. And right before things went bad, his dad, the real king, shows up, saves the day, and delivers Simba and his friend. And the reason I bring this story up is because, you know, I always tell you to go after what it is that you want in life, to strive for success, to strive for greatness. But I think we also have to temper our enthusiasm sometimes when we're going after it. Sometimes we have to sit back and really assess whether or not right now is the right time. I'm not saying whether or not it's the right thing to do. I think striving for success is always the right thing to do. But whether or not right now you are ready to take on the challenges of life, right? The challenges that are going to be before you as you strive for success. It's kind of like how the Bible says, you know, it says, which of you who's setting out to build a tower doesn't first sit down and count the cost to see whether you have enough to complete it. Like it's one thing to start out on a journey, but it would be really, really sucky to get halfway through the journey and to realize you don't have enough to finish. You wanna know why it's so sucky? Because that means you don't have enough to go back either. You've wasted so much of the resources and energy that you had to get there that you are now stuck in a rut. It's kind of like what happened with Lenny Cook. A lot of you may or may not know who Lenny Cook is, and that's because of what happened to Lenny Cook. He couldn't wait to be king. Lenny Cook was a high school basketball player back around 2001, 2002. And he's the guy who's kind of famous for, he was better than LeBron. He was better than Carmelo Anthony. He was better than Amari Stoudemire. He was the guy who, around this time, was the #1 guy in high school basketball. And you already know things are going to go bad when I say he was better, because was just means that it is no longer the case, right? But around that time, Lenny Cook, who was the best player in high school basketball, you're talking about around this time, you got guys like Amari Stoudemire, went on to be an NBA superstar. Carmelo Anthony went on to have a Hall of Fame NBA career. LeBron James, Chris Paul, Hall of Fame NBA careers. And he's better than them in high school, or at least that's the way the rankers viewed it. But Lenny Cook couldn't wait to be king. And so when it came time for him to make his decision about whether he was going to go to college to continue to develop, or whether or not he was going to go to the NBA, got some bad advice, some agents. I want to say in a documentary, he even said that he moved out of his mom's house over some disagreements, so he's not getting counsel from his parent. He didn't read the tea leaves. The NBA wasn't too keen on high school players because of recent draft picks not performing well. But he wanted the money. He was academically struggling in high school. He knew college meant more academic requirements. And because he just couldn't wait, he just went ahead and jumped to the NBA. And you know what happened to Lenny Cook? You don't know his name today. You know Amari Stoudemire's name. You know Carmelo Anthony and LeBron James and Chris Paul, Chris Bosh. You don't know who Lenny Cook is, and that's because Lenny Cook never got drafted. And Lenny Cook never actually made it to play in the NBA. Lenny Cook, a guy who was rated higher than Hall of Fame NBA players, is now, for all intents and purposes, a nobody. Because he couldn't wait to be king. He couldn't sit back and assess whether or not the time was right for him to really go all in on his dreams and his goals. So we have to learn from Lenny. We have to really assess whether or not it is time for us to go all in on these goals, or maybe we need to continue to work on our skills. Maybe we need to continue to develop. Maybe before you start that business, you need to take a few more financial planning and management courses. Maybe before you start this workout plan, you need to go ahead and clean out the refrigerator of all of the junk food so that they're not even in the house. Like, maybe you just really need to sit down and count the costs to see whether or not you are going to be able to complete this task. Like, you say you want to be grown. The first time you get out there and life give you lemons, instead of struggling on some lemonade that you made yourself, what you do? You call them the same parents that you told you wanted to be grown and ask them to give you a handout. You hadn't counted the cost. You say you want to be a doctor. Are you prepared? Are you ready to like give up sleep? Listen to me. My last year in pharmacy school, I was on rotations in stem cell transplant, and I was working with a doctor. I kid you not, she had been working she had basically got on the street 21 straight days, no off days, and she's probably working 12, 14-hour days. Probably hasn't seen her husband, who is also a doctor, working at the time. 21, she probably wasn't sleeping much at all, y'all. Are you prepared? You say you want to be a doctor. You prepared to put in them type of hours? You say you want to be an NBA player, an NBA superstar, right? You ready to shoot 1,000 shots a day? Kevin Boyle, he is the head coach of probably the premier high school program in basketball. He's coached the likes of Kyrie Irving, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, Joel Embiid, D'Angelo Russell, Ben Simmons, the number 1 and number 4 pick in this year's draft, Cade Cunningham and Scotty Barnes. He coached, I don't know if I said already, RJ, but he's coached like just numerous NBA players, right? But I never forget, I read this story. There was a kid coming out of high school, coming out of Montverde Academy, where he coaches. He was the point guard. He was a 5-star point guard going to Florida. His name was Casey Hill. And he said that Kevin Boyle told him before he went to college, before he had ever played a game, he told him the only difference between making $100 million and making just a few bucks is 1,000 shots a day. This is the same guy who had just put Kyrie Irving from his school to Duke to number 1 pick in the draft. He said he told him that if you want to be an NBA superstar, 1,000 shots a day, you say you want to be an NBA superstar, you prepared to shoot 1,000 shots a day minimum? All I'm saying is count the cost before you start this journey, before you go. I said it in a previous video, successful people go all out. They don't save anything for the way back. But that's why it's so important to really sit back and assess if whether or not the timing is right. Because if you don't save anything for the way back, if it wasn't the right time, you will be like Lenny Cook and you will never recover. You might find yourself like Simba, looking for your daddy to save you from the hyenas. So this is my question. So I have to give you a question. I need a question. This is the question. I want you to sit back and assess right now. Assess that dream you have, assess that goal you have, that business you want to start, right? That graduate program you want to get into, the sport you want to be the best in. I want you to sit back and I want you to carefully assess where you are and what it's going to take actually. Like what is the actual practical action steps you would have to take to accomplish it. And I want you to ask yourself, are you ready to do? Are you prepared? Are you prepared? Do you have enough to complete that tower? And if you are, I just want you to put a 1 in the comments. But if you're not, I want you to put a 2 in the comments, but don't just put a 2. I want you to put a 2, and then I want you to put what it is that you're ready to do to try to get ready to go all in. That's my video, guys. If you haven't already, I want you to please, please, please like this video. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Guys, I'm trying to upload a video every weekday. That's 5 videos a week. So if you subscribe, that's what you'll be getting. Motivational, inspirational content with a pop culture spin on it. So guys, until next time, thanks for watching. Peace.